General of the National Disaster Management Agency, NADMA. Our guest today is Datuk Khairul Shahril. Idrus, good morning, Datuk. How are you today?
Good morning, KG. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing quite well, Datuk. Thank you so much. And of course, we've been recently seeing and also watching the news with a number of floods happening in a number of places, including my very own locality, which is Puchong. Let's get with the questions, Datuk. Let's talk about the floods. What are the different types of floods? The flash floods, riverine floods, coastal floods, and how do they differ from one another, Datuk?
Okay. Before that, KG, I want to give you some perspective on our exposure on flood events. Based on our statistic provided by the Drainage and Irrigation Department, about 10.1% of Malaysia's total area can be considered as flood-prone area. This exposes about 21% of our total populations. So we have identified about 5,648 hotspot areas which are prone to flood incidents. So basically, based on the data given by the ID department, we have categorized flood in Malaysia based on 4 categories. The first one is the monsoon flood, the flood that we are experiencing right now from November last year until March this year. So normally the monsoon flood will be categorized by will be caused by continuous heavy rain. So this is the kind of flood that we are the hardest to manage because it involves mass evacuations and it tends to stay longer compared to the other types of flood. The second one is the flash flood. It is caused by localized rain and in terms of its duration is less. In terms of the rain duration, it will be less than 6 hours. So its characteristics are a sudden flood, but it will be quickly
dissipated.
This is, I think, the one that you are normally experiencing in Puchong, flash flood.
Absolutely.
So the other type is a coastal flood. This normally occur at the coastal area, and normally it will happen together with high tide phenomenon. So if there is a heavy rainfall and at the same time high tide phenomenon is occurring, then coastal flood will be happening at that particular area. And the type of flood is stagnant flood water. Normally, this kind of flood is caused by the geographical attributes of certain areas, where the flood water cannot disappear because of the geographical attributes of that particular area, and it will take time to recede. So basically, what we can say is this: Malaysia experienced 4 kinds of floods: monsoon floods, flash floods, coastal floods, and stagnant water flood. But the most difficult to handle is the monsoon flood.
Yes, absolutely. And we are very deep into the monsoon season as well currently, aren't we, Dato'?
Yes, that's correct, sir. So our monsoon season will start normally in November and it will end until March. So right now we are experiencing northeast monsoon season, which in Malay we call it monsoon timur laut or better known NPL season.
Absolutely, all the way till March. That is a scary prospect. And Dato', how does NADMA issue early warnings or alerts for floods and other natural disasters?
So basically, early warning is one of the most important component in our disaster management in order to ensure that the populations will get certain lead times in order for them to react appropriately whenever there is a potential flood event. So basically, if we talk about early warning, the objective is to ensure that we are able to alert as many potential victims as possible, so that they can take the appropriate actions in order to minimize loss of life, and maybe loss of life and also loss of property. So before I go further, I would like to emphasize that NADMA is not the only agency that is responsible to issue early warning or alerts to their populations. There are other agencies as well that are responsible, that have early warning or alert mechanism to alert the populations. This include the civil defense department, our fire brigade, our local governments, and the police. So there are a lot of ways how we try to give a warning or alert to the populations. But I can give you some of the examples that we are currently utilizing in order to ensure that as many potential victims as possible that can receive early warning. One of the ways that we are currently doing is to send out SMS to potential disaster victims. So NADMA has collaborated with telcos so that they can alert their subscribers on potential disaster events or potential flood events. So then we also actively employ mass media in order to give early warning to the populations. We have engagements with TV networks, the RTM, and also as well as private television companies to alert the population whenever needed. And we are also actively utilizing radios to alert the populations. At the same time, we are also engaging the public so that they can alert each other whenever there is a necessity to give that kind of alert or warning. These are some of the things that we are utilizing in order to ensure that the potential affected population victims can receive early warning so that they can make early preparations in order to minimize their economic losses as well as to avoid loss of life. But all in all, we believe that based on our experience and the method that we are currently employing, we are confident that we have managed to reach adequate numbers of potential victims so that to give them some early warning so that they can make early preparations. But one of the most difficult challenges in terms of issuing alerts and early warning is how we can induce appropriate reactions from the public. So based on our experience before, we have seen cases whereby the publics are quite indifferent to the warnings or early alerts that have been issued by the authority. At the same time, we are also facing some challenges in terms of trying to ensure only appropriate and accurate information are being sent to the public, because we also have to manage fake news and also fake viral messages that can complicate in terms of trying to induce appropriate public reactions after they have received this kind of early warning or alerts.
All right, Datuk. What we're going to do right now is we're going to be taking a short break. We're going to be right back. There is more to talk about, including some of the technologies and systems that NADMA currently employs in the search for monitoring and forecasting of floods. We are going to be back. We are currently speaking to Datuk Khairul Shahril Idrus. He's the Director General of the National Disaster Management Agency. We are currently talking about the floods, and if this is a very important matter to you, keep on listening. There's more that we're going to be talking about. Right now, it is we're going to be listening to some music. Welcome back to What Matters on TRAXXfm. We are currently speaking about the floods with our guest, Datuk Khairul Shahril Idrus. He's the Director General of the National Disaster Management Agency. All right, Datuk, let's talk about what technologies or system does NADMA use for monitoring and forecasting floods?
Before that, KG, let me inform that NADMA does not make weather forecast. We collaborate with other technical agencies in order to form our forecast on disaster events. Basically, when it comes to flood, the responsible agency to do all the forecastings of the drainage and irrigation, Department of Drainage and Irrigations, as well as the Meteorological Department of Malaysia. So basically, NADMA will depend on their forecast in order to make our preparations. So basically, there are close collaborations between NADMA and the technical agencies when it comes to forecasting weather patterns. So having said that, based on our interactions with these two agencies, we believe that the technology that they are using are compatible or comparable with the one that are being used by international or other countries. So basically, they are using a lot of sensors, radar, and also complicated mathematical modeling in order to predict weather or disaster events. So if I can say that based on our past experience, we can say that in terms of accuracy, their forecasts are quite robust and are comparable with the kind of accuracy achieved by meteorological or flood management agency in Western and developed countries. So in terms of technology and the modeling used by the agencies, we are very confident that they are quite robust. And based on our past experience, it can achieve about 70 to 80% accuracy. At the same time, in order to improve the accuracy and robustness of their weather forecast, in order to enable NADMA to make early preparations in terms of disaster management, these agencies also have international collaborations. So they do compare notes and data with regional partners, regional countries, so that in terms of accuracy, they can in terms of accuracy of their forecast, it can be further improved. At the same time, these agencies are also having international collaborations with multilateral agencies in ASEAN, Asia Pacific, in order to improve the accuracy of their forecast. KG.
Absolutely. So it is a multi-agency based effort for you to be able to come up with all of your warnings as well as your alerts, Datuk. Can that be said as that?
That is correct, KG. So basically, in terms of technical forecasting of or technical work, it is done by the technical agencies. What NADMA is doing is we collate the information from the agencies, and from the information that we have received from these technical agencies, we form the strategies on how to handle certain disaster events and prepare for certain disaster events.
All right, Dato, talking about, let's move on from the overarching theme of government as well as the governance part of it, like how NADMA works. Let's talk about the individual. Are there specific guidelines or resources available to them for creating emergency plans or even kits that could help them out in such a time?
In terms of our disaster management, we are emphasizing on whole of government and the whole of society approach. This, in order to ensure that this approach is can succeed, it will depend a lot on community level initiative. So basically, having said that, in terms of guidelines or resources, we are encouraging local communities to come up with their own specific guidelines and resources required based on the specific locality needs. So they know their areas better. So this is what we are trying to improve on, the involvement of the local community in order to come up with specific strategies, specific ways on how to react in the event of disaster. So basically, we do produce some kind of general guidelines on emergency plans or kits, but at the same time, we are encouraging local communities to come up with their own specific emergency plans or kits that are compatible or that meet specific requirements of their own community, KG.
And as you said, it is a very, very personalized kit based upon their locality. And what can you maybe like give us some general guidelines? What can individuals or communities do to prepare for and to respond to floods?
Okay. So from time to time, we do conduct training sessions with the local community together with NGOs. During these sessions, we will ask the local community to identify areas that are safe for them to go in the event of disaster. In the event of disaster, so basically they will plan which area they should go, which routes to take, what kind of basic necessities that they are required to bring. So basically, these are the things that we are currently doing to ensure that we empower the community and to induce appropriate actions from them if there is a requirement.
And so that we're going to be taking another short break, and we will be coming back. We will also talk about short-term and long-term impacts of floods on communities, infrastructure, and the environment. All right, we are currently speaking about the floods with Datuk Khairul Shahril Idrus, and he is the Director General for the National Disaster Management Agency, NADMA. We will be right back. Welcome back to Tracks. This is What Matters. We're talking about the floods and the flood alerting systems as well with Datuk Khairul Shahril Idrus. He's the Director General with the National Disaster Management Agency. Welcome back, Datuk.
Thank you, KJ.
Datuk, what are some of the short-term and long-term impacts of floods on communities, infrastructure, as well as the environment?
So, basically, in terms of disaster management, the main objective is to ensure that we can avoid loss of life, as well as to minimize loss of property. So these are the two things that we are trying to strive for when we formulate disaster management strategies, policies, and efforts. So obviously, if you look at the impact of disaster, especially flood, it will have a very long it will have serious and negative implications on individual lives. Basically, if you look at the economic losses that we have seen for the past 2 years, it is quite substantial. Based on the survey made by the Department of Statistics in 2022, it has been estimated that the loss that we experienced during last year's flood was about 622 million ringgit. And if we compare it with 2021 figure, the loss was about 6.1 billion ringgit. So if we look at the economic impact, it is very, very huge. If we look further in terms of factors, based on the similar survey in 2022, public assets and infrastructure experienced 232.7 million ringgit worth of loss. And accommodations, it saw about 157 million worth of losses, and agriculture sector experienced 154.5 million worth of losses. So in terms of economic losses, it is huge. But more serious than that, I think if you look at last year's number, there were 12 incidences where involved death, and in 2021, 60% died because of flood. So these are very serious implications whenever flood happens. So in terms of the long-term impact, I think when we look at the economic losses caused by disaster or flood events, it requires significant adjustment in terms of our long-term planning, and also it requires a lot of adjustment in order to ensure that the huge economic losses can be overcome.
The numbers are very, very big, and also the effect on Malaysians as well as the socio-economic structure is also quite huge. And I think I would like to ask you, how does NADMA coordinate with other agencies? But I believe they already answered that. So I think we are finally at the end of our interview, Datuk, and at this current time frame, especially with the risk of a third wave coming shortly, possibly, what advice would you give to those who are living in a flood risk area, but also for those who are not, who don't even know if they might be at the risk of a flood?
I think the most basic principle is to adhere to the authority instructions. So I think this is the best way to respond to any disaster events. So I think this is the most basic requirement that the populations need to aware of. They need to adhere to the local authority instructions in order to save lives and to minimize loss of property.
And this would mean if the authorities say please evacuate, they do, right? Because a lot of people seem to be very attached to their homes, especially if it's flooding, and they always say, you know what, I don't want to evacuate. What do you think about that, Datuk?
Yes, that's the real situations that responding agencies are currently having. There are instances whereby local community refuse to evacuate. Then they are only willing to do so when the situation has become so dire. So this complicates
search and rescue
effort, and also effort to to provide the necessary assistance to the flood victims. So we, to the extent that the responding agency have to go house to house, and knock their doors in order to persuade small pockets of our populations to evacuate before the situation has become so difficult.
And also this would also complicate resources and also supplies, because a place that is already considered safe, and then the searchers need to go back there, to the rescuers need to go back there just to make sure that they already to rescue someone who already said, you know what, I don't want to evacuate, and things like that. So I think that is something that I believe needs to be very important, that the individuals in Malaysia, the rakyat needs to learn that if it's starting to flood, please move yourself, because I think things can be bought, but lives cannot be found again, right?
That's correct, KG. So that's the reasons why we are emphasizing on community awareness on how to react, on how to respond when there is a necessity to do so.
Absolutely. Datuk, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today. We hope to have you in the studio possibly sometime in the future again. And with that, I think we would like to say thank you, and please keep up doing the good work that you're doing, and we hope to hear from you again soon.
Thank you very much, KG.
And that was Datuk Khairul Shahril Idrus, the Director General with the National Disaster Management Agency, NADMA, one of the premier agencies that is working a day in and out to make sure that you are staying safe during the floods. So please, when the authorities say to evacuate, please follow their orders, whatever orders that they're giving during the particular time, that dire time, please make sure that you're following it. And we spoke about what flood alert on What Matters, and right now it is back to the music. I'll be back in the next hour. Till then,